Hi, my dear ones. We're back, and we're going to start going over these eyes again and finish them up for you. And hopefully I've got everyone covered there. Sorry that we have to do them in this manner, but there's so many questions that you guys have for me. I just can't keep up with them and do all this other stuff and everything we've talked about before. So appreciate your patience and everything. But get used to reading your own eyes. This is fun. This is simple. Get you an iridology book while they're still available, because when Doc died, he gave all his stuff to Art, his son, and his son's wife, Ellen. Of course, she doesn't believe in Doc's work. So isn't that ironic that Doc would give it to someone? And he already knew she was a gold digger. He told me years ago. So he already had her pegged. But you know what? The sad thing that has to be. But enjoy Doc's work, because he was definitely way out there in iridology. He showed me things that were so much in the future that he was working on, it wasn't even funny. And he was a lot like me. You tear it apart and tear it apart until you can't tear it apart anymore. And that's how you find simplicity. And sometimes you have to go through the intellectual side to a point to when you wake up from that. So anyway, we'll go over the eyes again, and let's see where we are. I need a light source and a... Here. All right. Well, I'm going to need these over here anyway. Excuse me here.
How are you doing today?
We just did a 2-hour video, didn't we?
Yeah,
2 or 3 hour video. We just hope that's not too long for them.
No.
We just did that.
We knocked it out.
We knocked it out.
So let's do about a half hour on these.
And I only knocked out a small smidgen of the people that are asking me questions.
Oh, of course.
This kind of looks like... Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Is it printed on the back? What it is? Here you go.
That's Gina right.
Gina.
And Gina left.
There you go.
There we go. Okay.
Push them together a little bit more.
What do you want to do? Put them together?
Yeah, a little bit
good
closer.
Idea. Yeah, that's a good idea.
There you go.
No, it looks like a... Oh, that looks weird. That is...
Awesome.
That's
I
awesome.
think it's awesome.
I think it's awesome, too. It looks like the gremlin. No offense, Gina. We're just playing with you. Holding those eyes up. Nice eyelashes. All right. Can we see here? All right. Gina, you see this dark rim around the outside of your eye? That's a scurf rim or a skin ring. That means you were born with weak skin. When you're born with a weakness, it definitely makes things back up in the body. So when you get into this inner part here, you see a little thickness here, and you especially see a darker brown around your pupil. These are brown eyes, as far as I can tell. The darker brown or orange is right around the pupil, and that almost looks like an orange tint to it, which means that would be sulfur in those tissues as well. Now, you see these little black lines that emanate out from the pupil? These are called radius solaris, and they emanate out of the GI tract. And of course, when you look at the embryology, the GI tract is that little tail on the tadpole. As a cell opens up and creates the tadpole look, that's the gut. So this is right into genetics here. And this cuts through your left ear, cuts through your mastoid. You might have some blowback on the medulla or the cerebellum up here. So there is an ear and a mastoid weakness here on this side. A little bit of bronchial trunk as well. Lymph in the breast. This is just all lymphatics here. Got pretty good genes here. Got nice kidneys, but need to get them opened up and filtering subacute adrenals. Here's your lower back in relationship to that. This is all up and down your back here. So you have lower back, mid back, and a little bit of C-spine as well. Get on this right side, and you have more lymph building up in the lower spine as opposed to, let's say, some weaknesses. You see a lot more. See all these black, dark radius solaris? Well, these are all in the transverse colon, and you want to work on the colon because this is where these weaknesses are starting out, is the stomach and bowel area, and then emanating up to the related tissue, where the transverse colon affects brain tissue. And up here now, you've got a pituitary weakness and you have a pineal gland weakness. The pituitary can shut down your menses or make it irregular, heavy bleeding. It can create height problems, short or tall, all types of growth problems, probably even breast problems, all kinds of problems that way. Shuts down thyroid, parathyroid glands, And by the way, let's look at that. Tonsils don't look too good, but the thyroid looks pretty good. So to fix this, obviously you've got to fix the GI tract that this is running into. And that's what we've been talking about. To get the brain detoxed properly, detox the bowels that it sits on. And then, of course, at the same time, you're going into the kidneys and adrenal glands. Here's a little groin appendix. Over here is a gallbladder. Yeah, but pretty good genes all in all, I'll tell you the truth. Got to get into this chronic gut of yours, clean that up, get your skin refurbished, get your thyroid up and everything. Dry skin brush, get out and get some sweating going and go after that way. You might need to address your pituitary gland a little bit. I would also get into upper circulation and start moving blood more aggressively upstairs, maybe brain and nerve formula a little bit. But just get your body opened up. You got great genes here that go after that pituitary, go after the bowels, go after the kidney and adrenals, and I think you'll do well. Yeah. Now, here's the simplicity of this. When you want to know what to do, oh, that fit perfect. When you want to know what to do about something, you know immediately you belong to a raw food club. So you know immediately diets must change. And I think anybody that wants to be healthy knows, either deep in themselves or some way, there's going to have to be a change in their lifestyle. Most people, even though they might want to play dumb and they might want to, act like they don't get it, most people do know that they have to change their eating habits to feel better and to get well. I don't know what else to say about that.
Bottom line.
Bottom line.
Yep.
So then from there, what foods then would you go on to feel better? Well, you want to align yourself with foods that are harmonious or designed for the physiology and anatomy that your body was created. And that takes you right into the fruits, berries, and melons. And that's the type of diet you get started. You get started right on the diet. Herbs are to help you dig in that foods can't. They don't have the power. So herbs are designed to clean, enhance. They're fun. They're fun to play with. Never feel herbs or fear them. Yeah, let's look at this eye a minute here. What color do we have here? That's enough to say that I think this is a light brown eye, but we have enough little
evidence.
Yeah, enough little evidence here that might suggest different. You know what I would suggest? Who is this one?
Do you ever light?
Yeah.
Yeah, put that one there.
Let's see where that is. That's
Flash
a good
the light.
idea.
There you go. Let me get a zoom in.
I mean, that looks blue. I mean, I hate to say it, but that looks blue. Under those nerve rings, you see that? That looks blue. If that's the case, you got blue eyes, my friend, and what you have is chronic lymph problems. And you see the skin is involved in this case. A little bit of weakness, not as much as the other case, but a little bit of weakness around there, and that locks everything in. So you're thick with lymph. But even if it's a light brown eye, but there's a little bit too much evidence to show blue here. But if it was a light brown, this would still all be chronic lymph. And my concern is that with the chronic lymph is chronic acidosis. And with chronic acidosis, you see this sheen in the pupil. And that sheen looks like a cataract to me. That means that cholesterol will be involved in your antacid endeavors. And that's when it gets scary, because then you start seeing the plaquing and everything else. I don't see the halo up here, the scurf rim, or the cholesterol ring. I don't see that. But what do we see here? We see nerve rings. See all those rings. All these rings. Does this help?
Yeah, it really does.
Does that help?
Yes.
Yeah.
It brightens
You
it
see
up.
all these rings here. Now, this is the left testicle, if this is a male, and the pancreas a little bit. Is this a male? I don't know. Wait a minute. I am a girl. This is a woman. 22-year-old woman. So, girl, you got nice genes here, but you got a little bit of chronic lymph backed up, sweetheart, and right around this pupil, heavy lymph in the gut here. This is in the forehead, a little buildup going on. This is in the back of the neck, not a little below the cerebellum, perhaps. Get good genes here. Really like what I see here. But anytime you see these darker patches, this is all lymph building up, solid in the bowels. And if indeed these are blue eyes, honey, you got to get a lot of work and get this lymph out of you. At the very least, they're light brown, and that's still a lot of work. Get your skin refurbished, get your thyroid up, because all your problems are going to be lymphatic problems.
What's the spot at 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock right here?
Right there.
That's in the skin.
All right.
It's in the skin. It's either a drug deposit or a buildup of lymph under that tissue. So what we have here is a left kidney weakness. Your leg is a little weak on the left side, and you have a little groin weakness on that side. I would say almost everything, including uterus, is probably more lymphatic than anything. I mean, you got a little groin and appendix, a little pancreatic or gallbladder. But most everything here is lymph. So you really have to go out of that. Remember, lymph is lymph congestion, lymph stagnation, acidosis. All of this is pretty much meaning the same thing. They are behind everything. You know, I just talked to that oncologist that we were talking about on the last film. He's a nice guy. He wasn't yelling. But he says he's using a chemo. He only does one type of cancer, and he said his chemo is 6.5. But he still doesn't understand the lymph system. He thinks he does. They think they're smart, but they're not. They think they know how that everything works and this stuff, and they don't. Let's see. I don't know if the greens I eat. I can't stomach garlic at all. I stink, so I wonder if it's possible I got too much sulfur in my body or am intolerant to it. Well, that's what I was wondering. Is some of this orange? You're so brown here, it's hard to tell. If there's a little bit of an orange hue here, a little bit. So the only way I can tell you is, do you have orange stools? Orange color in your stools or what? That would be sulfur in there. So most of this issue in your life, sweetheart, is lymphatic. Clean that up, and you'll free all these tissues up to respond better to everything. Because you have a great body here in terms of cells and everything, but your lymph system is a chronic mess. And you want to think about that pituitary and stuff. Robert, my name is Indrick. Indrick? Yep. See?
You're
Country
good.
boy still can pronounce a little bit. All right, I still have something in my right knee, which is cracking when going upstairs. All right, let's look at the right knee.
Very nice eyes.
Yeah.
I like.
What's the first thing that sets me off is these lymph nodes. See these little white areas? Looks like little light bulbs. These are all lymph nodes, and this is what's called a lymphatic rosary in iridology because it's all the way around the eye. And the concern is that these have been swollen for years and a little stagnant and maybe hardened and so difficult to open real quick. This one's in the lower lobe of your left lung. I would definitely start moving out and working in my deeper breathing and fixing my lungs because you have a little weakness in the lower lobe of the left lung. You have a building up in the mid lobe and a bigger building up in the lower lobe. Excuse me, you want to fix this. Your pituitary is full of mucus. Your sinuses up here have got a lot of congestion. Your pituitary has minor genetic weaknesses in it, but thick lymph. Thick lymph. See all that white, yellow, thick lymph. This is in the throat. You've got a build-up in the throat of lymph, so that can swell the throat or narrow it. Again, you got lymph backed up, lymph nodes backed up down your back. Some mid-back weaknesses going here. Throat weaknesses a little bit. Here's a kidney. Yeah, here's a right leg. Actually, it's not just the knee, it's the whole leg, including the femur, particularly the femur to the knee. I can't see down below that. Here's the kidney on the side, prostate involved up here, and a lot of lymph, so be careful with that. And then here's a big bladder weakness. Groin, of course. Here we have a testicle weakness. If this is a male, right? Yep, I think so. This is a liver gallbladder. That's an open, see how this is shaped? This is an open lesion. So it's less weak than a closed one, like a closed one would be. This one maybe. But you have little weaknesses here and there. This is in the right chest wall. I would just start really moving on my lymph nodes and lymph system, get my bowels, because you have a little malabsorption ring and thick lymph around the bowel wall here. See how white this is in your gut area? That all needs to come out. Notice the pupil is real small too. So you're running a lot of stress in the body. So you just got to get in here and open this up. This bronchial trunk, lungs, chest wall, and your lymph system. Here's some skin that's not real happy here. So I get in to refurbish myself, refurbish the kidney and adrenals, refurbish the skin. We have skin formulas. But look at how we set up these protocols in these kits. And that's exactly the protocol or something similar to that you want to think about. You're always going to work on kidneys. You're always going to work on lymph, because one thing you're going to always see in our films here is showing you the lymph system. You're always going to see the lymph system as a top need. And when you understand acidosis and inflammation and all this, that's going to be your top need right there, is to do these things. So, not bad though, but a lot of lymph work here. The weaknesses you have genetically are not deep. Notice in these eyes that these aren't deep lacunas. They're just not real deep. Some of them are a little deeper than others. And this is getting into the thyroid here, parathyroid gland, left side. So you want to enhance that up there and go in and build that up. You correlate this then with your symptoms. You do your basal temperatures to look at your thyroid. You can do your blood pressures to look at your kidney and adrenals. You can check your blood sugars. I mean, there's all kinds of playthings that you can play with to double check your stats for these. Well, Drew, this is impossible, so I can't do this one. These are way too impossible.
Well, show them an example.
Yeah, when you see, let me show you these eyes here, because let me show you this, because a good eye is what you want to try to achieve, because the proper colorations, the proper look at the lacunas, and that. So look at this. I couldn't see this eye if I had to. Now, I can do this with a much stronger light, and look there. See that? I can see some things. It makes it uncomfortable and timely if I'm moving out trying to get iris analysis done. But I have to take time to try and see in here. And then I don't feel I can give an accurate reading. The one thing we can see, and I thought so because it carries over, this is a much better picture, especially in a brown eye. The difficulty this person had is they have dark brown eyes. So it is difficult. You might have to bring another light source from this side. Do one from each side to light this eye up. On my first camera, I developed a light source on each side, and it really gave me a nice 3D look.
Yes.
Yeah, it really did nice.
That.
I love that camera. Dr. Jensen gave me that first one. Well, that was my first one, but I fixed the one up he gave me too. Now, this is all up in the transverse colon and stomach area. These are deep radius solar. See how black and dark they look? I don't like these. This is obviously a female. It's pretty eyelashes and stuff. So this cuts right through your cerebellum. This cuts right through the brain up in here, right through the pituitary, right through the pineal gland. So this person could have equilibrium problems, vertigo problems, swinging blood pressure problems, headaches. Here's the pituitary down, so the thyroid can be down, the ovaries can be down, or the menses irregular and things. Sleeping is difficult. There's a whole host of things, growth hormones and stuff like that. We get down here in the other part, and these are the two places that medical doctors do resections, that surgeons do resections in bowels. Transverse, sigmoid, and you have those in both places. This is down in the sigmoid portion, which is the last portion toward the rectal area, and you got beat up right here too. So you really want to work on your bowels before you lose these tissues. Now, this is going into the groin, the hip, and the left ovary, as well as the kidney. You have a real dark kidney here, so you really want to spend some time working on the kidney. Here's your upper femur down to your knee. That's very weak. Going into the hip, your hip is weak with that, and the groin. So this is genetic past 2. You want to really work on that. As we move forward, we're into the uterine weakness, bladder weakness, coccyx, and lower back weakness. We get in here, it's really hard to see, but pretty much the same thing. Uterine, vaginal wall, kidney, leg, groin, hip. And if this is a gallbladder, maybe. But without good eyes, I just don't want to throw too much out there. And you got to worry about eyelash shadows and stuff like that, too. Remember that one. But again, it's about the same thing we see over here. We see the pituitary, the pineal gland, and these things up in your brain. Your cerebellum looks better, but this is a case where you want to use upper circulation and brain and nerve. At the same time, you're going to tear into that GI tract. You're going to get into those kidneys and adrenal glands and start promoting good lymph flow, better, stronger neurological issues, get into the pituitary, that sort of thing, and just to start rebuilding your body as a whole. Oh no, this is male. This is a male. Nice eyelashes for a male. Wow, this is a male. Thanks, my friend. I appreciate it. But
It's Andrew.
Andrew's only 23 years old too. So Andrew, you got to tear off into your bowels and stuff. I would work on the pituitary, which will then flip into the parathyroid and hopefully rebuild some bony structures and stuff here as well. Yeah. Really nice eyelashes Andrew has.
Good job, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
There's Young.
Look at this one.
Oh, wow. This is James. Hey, James. Wait a minute. He looks left, but that doesn't look right to me. Does that look right to you?
No.
That looks like a right eye.
It looks
Look at this.
It looks like
this doesn't look right. This is dubbed as a left eye, but no, this is a left. This is a right eye here.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm talking about? That doesn't look like the corner of your eye.
All right.
It looks like this looks like another right eye. Let me see here a minute. No, the markings are totally different. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to go with the assumption that this is a left eye over here. What's the first thing? Now here's a good example of what you don't want to do is do all this in front of a window, because you have all kinds of
Do you know some eyes that I've seen before?
Yeah.
I were to be able to read plate numbers from cars. I would see palm trees.
I bet. Oh, that's funny. I bet. But you know what?
I know what type of car it was, make, model.
I tell you what, though, I have to say that you all are so good at working with this.
But I've done that myself, though. You taught me.
Yeah, I know.
I would try my best to get the best photo.
Yeah,
you're like, no.
I know. But if you got a window behind you, you're going to have a reflection. This is what you see, all this reflection. So looking through the reflection, we see a lot of these closed lacunas. That's what you call a pattern in the fibers. Remember, we showed you the fibers, and that a healthy eye has straight fibers with no patterns. When you start to see patterns, these are going to be in your cells. So they're going to be specific tissues, since the body cells are specific tissues. So all of these are going to be represented by specific tissues. However, the thing that sets up most, these are blue eyes, but they look white. Now, all this thick white stuff, what is that? And that's stagnation of lymph. That is
mucus.
An acute stage of lymph toxicity. Probably you could even say a subacute stage. A lot of lymph. And you see it heavy around a lot of these lacunas, meaning that these weaknesses are getting weaker. And they're fairly deep in minimal healing lines. So when you start to see healing, focus on this one down here, Drew. You see all that white in there? When you start healing an area like this, it'll start getting little white lines in there, like you were sewing it up with needle and thread. And pretty soon this will get smaller, fainter, and then disappear. That's cool stuff. And you can do that with all these. This is a medium constitution person, too many of these lacunas to be strong constitution. This eye looks more like mine, except for all the heavy, thick white. I have some, but I have a lot of these lacunas from genetics. So they're all over the place. Here's pituitary. Now, you see how this kind of comes down here? This is the bowel wall. So you have a prolapsed transverse colon. You have some real dark black stuff around the stomach area that I don't like. So there has been either a burn from the stomach, which is acids, or you've got some toxic chemical in the stomach there. That's when you start wanting to go after this, because that can lead into gastroparesis and things like this. So some of this is intestinal wall pockets and some of it not. We're into a parathyroid gland right here. You want to fix that up. This is all into bowels. This is outside of bowels. This is the tonsil area. This is a parathyroid, thick lymph, and this is throat weakness as well. A lot of lymph, so there's going to be a sore throat when you detoxify. This stuff's got to come out, and there's a weakness, so you're going to have a sore throat. You can go over to the left side and see another weakness in the throat on the left side. As we go down the back here, we've got upper neck. We've got actually some T-spine, and we got weaknesses all down the back right side, and we can see the same thing left side. More C-spine, lower spine here. We pick up a big bladder weakness here. We pick up a prostate weakness. We pick up a kidney weakness. We pick up a big knee weakness and a lot of lymph in the leg here, so you have to be careful about your legs swelling up, James, here. Groin, hip, pancreas. See, so you get some of these people that have multiple weaknesses. You don't let anything stop you. They're just weaknesses. So you get in there and you clean and you strengthen. The two words that take you from Hellville to Wellville: clean and strengthen the body up. And that's what you need to do. Bronchial trunks. Now, if this is a woman, but still, James, you got a weakness in the right chest wall here, and you got to look at that. There's too much reflections to see what's going on here, but this is the gallbladder area. There's a lot of something in here. I don't know if it's just all reflections. We go to the left side, we got a left leg, left kidney, left groin down, left hip down. So these are areas you've really got to work on, and the parathyroid is in this mix of strengthening skeletal systems, and that's what you got to think about as well. Here we got a prostate, a bladder, and lower back, coccyx as well. Then we got throat, tonsils, they're not. And then we get up here and we're into the left ear, maybe left shoulder, but left ear, and maybe a little cerebellum here. And see how this is coming down, this bowel wall, how this is kind of sinking down here. That's a prolapsed condition of your transverse bowel. Then this is the splenic flexure, and it's a little ballooned abnormally. We see that down here when you enter the sigmoid area as well, a little pocketed areas, and then maybe a big ballooning. It's enough to say, if you want a better look, take a little bit better picture in terms of getting this reflection out of here and everything. But even though one has multiple weaknesses like this, they're not most of them are not real deep. So he's able to get in there and fix them up, but you got to get your systems. Think about this: you got cells sitting there that require a nutritional feed the blood and a sewer system to remove the waste. You got those two things to think about if you want health of tissue, and so that's just what your focus is. Knowing that the sewer system is by far the biggest problem man faces, and that its outlets are skin and kidneys, then you know what everybody's involved in. Where's our time at now?
Doing good. You have 5 minutes.
Okay. We might have to finish this up tomorrow.
Oh, obviously.
Because I still have some eyes in here we haven't done, and I have to go over them. So I think the best way to do that, and that way we cleaned out all of that and we're done with that. This is Ron from Queensland, Australia.
Queensland, wow.
Aha, my lad. Let's take a look at this and see what we got. Well, if I had to guess, I don't know. What's his age, Ron? I thought so. He's 76 years old. This is a picture of an older person's eyes. And as we get older and the more acidic we get, we just get so acidic, everything becomes dull. And no offense, Ron, but your eyes are very dull. And you need to reinvigorate your body, which will invigorate your eyes. So you have blue eyes, no question, but you see how they're starting to look kind of
grayscale.
Grayscale, yeah. That's a typical, that's what happens when you're starting to go, your health is starting to go down. Acids, big time.
Chemicals.
And one of the big proofs of that is this heavy cholesterol ring here. This is a serious issue. And here you got the cataract, see that hazy look in the pupil? And then you got the cataracts with it. This is all cholesterol. This is all from acidosis. And this is, when you have a case like this, you definitely want to keep them on the circulation formulas, because at 76, this individual, and you know, again, we like to be honest about things. This is a stroke waiting to happen if he hasn't already had some TIAs. And of course, cardiac-wise, this is going to get him too. So you get the upper circuit and lower circuit going through this body. We've got some issues here. We've got big-time kidney weakness right side with a drug deposit in the kidneys. And we have a fairly big weakness on the left side. We got knees going on here. We got groins going on here. We've got thick prostate things going on. We've got bladder, lower back, mid back, upper back. So we've got several things that this gentleman needs to work on here. Over here, it's possible we have a spleen going on here. So we really want to just start cleaning and invigorating, cleaning and enhancing. And that's how you win these games. There is a hit of sulfur through this eye. You see it up here. You see it in the gut here. You see traces over here. So there's sulfur in this person. There's an over-acid stomach. There's a thick malabsorption ring. So we want to get there. Here's where you see the bowels way out. Some bowels are real close. Some bowels are way out. Don't ask me. Some iridologists claim it's because of the size of the bowels. I disagree with that. But then, who knows? But your back is, lower back in particular, you've got a lot to go in and work on that, my friend. Kidneys and adrenals, key factor here. Your groin here, this is the appendix and groin. I don't know if you've had a hernia right side, but if you haven't, I'm amazed. And the same left side, actually. Your skeletal system must be worked on. Here's a huge parathyroid weakness. Here's another part of a parathyroid weakness. So you want to really get into your parathyroid gland to rebuild your skeletal system. Get the circulation formulas going, so keep yourself from stroking or heart attacks. Start pulling this lymph and getting this lymph moving, which will pull the cholesterol out. It'll pull your cataracts out and your cholesterol plaquing out. Invigorate the skin. You know, you're 76 years old, you make your world healthy, Ron. Everything you do, because that's how you're going to stay with the planet. If not, you'll go enjoy yourself. But I can tell you that this is real dangerous stuff. And you're 76, you've done well to get up there without a stroke or heart attack yet. So unless you've had one, I haven't looked at this. This is a 50, oh, wait a minute.
Sore throat.
The picture,
Yeah.
This is even more scary.
Yeah.
This is of a 58-year-old male. Chronic fatigue, panic attacks, dizzy when standing, high blood pressure, sometimes low. Cerebellum, right? Here we go. Swinging blood pressure, high 1 minute, low the next. Dizzy, where does that take us? Cerebellum, back of the head.
Yeah.
Well, what do we got? Cerebellum, back of the head. Ear, left ear, cerebellum, ear. So it's obvious when you see symptoms, you can go right to where those come from and look, there you find a problem. Of course you're going to find a problem because he's symptomatic. And so this is all to itself. So forgive me, and forgive me, Ron, for this, but for a 58-year-old to look like this, that's scary. He's led a trash life, because this is not good eyes for a 58-year-old person. This is a person in big-time trouble. And this is a person that won't, if they don't take care of themselves, I could probably make some money on this person that they're not going to see Ron's age. And it's funny that you've got a man here that's been to our class. He says right here, I've been to your level 1. Here's Ron, 76, helping a 56-year-old that's probably much worse than he is. I just love that. But these guys have to fix themselves. Whoever this belongs to has to fix himself. He's got red testicles, swollen red testicles, groin, neck. I mean, this is a serious case that has to get in and refurbish their body. And they're only 58 years old.
But it's possible.
Well, he will.
Yeah.
Well, if he does.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, of course, you know what's going to happen.
Right.
But if he does, he has numerous allergies, sore in the GI tract, sore throat all the time. He has had his tonsils out at 21, gallbladder removed. You see what we're saying? So he's got multiple problems, and this person needs to really focus in on that and get himself fixed. Okay, so let's cut to tomorrow, and I'll come in here and we'll finish these up. Hello, everyone. We're here, Drew and I, to finish up these eyeballs of yours. But first, there was an important email that we wanted to go over and talk about just for a minute here. So we'll take a little break in the protocol and talk about this Paul, this young lad here. It's kind of a sad story here. He says, hello, I am 30-year-old male. Just entered third year mark of diagnosis with ALS, that's Lou Gehrig's. Similar to MS, I have a walker and don't have much use of my hands. My fiance left me, and my 5-year-old daughter is being kept from me. Well, that's sad. Why would that be with someone with ALS? Or from her mother, different person than my fiance. What herbs should I get from Dr. Morse? I was thinking these, but don't know what dosages. Brain and nerve 2, upper circulatory, adrenals. I'm desperate for your help. Okay, young man, Paul. Listen, the first thing you have to understand that you've got 3 of them pretty good. When you're dealing with any type of neurological issue, it is, I think, mandatory to understand that the adrenal glands and kidneys have a role in this issue. The adrenal glands through obvious neurotransmitters. The kidneys through the lymphatic system and the inability to check acidosis, which is what keeps the body from regenerating. You can't live in an acid medium, any tissue or anything, and expect regeneration to happen. It is the sort of corrosive medium that chemists are very aware of. And so I had a chance to talk to that oncologist yesterday. You guys got to hear it on the tape and everything. Pretty nice fella, younger guy. Didn't seem to understand the lymph system much, but I didn't expect him to. He claims his chemo, he's a specialist oncologist. He only deals with certain cancers, and he uses a chemo that has a 6.5 pH. So I wanted to talk to you about that and about the actions of medications and the actions of herbs and the difference between them. But with this, Paul, you've got to go after, obviously, the regeneration of the nervous system. To do that, your adrenal glands and kidneys are key. Those would be 2 formulas. I'm a glandular kind of guy when you're in these deeper levels of problems. So I would recommend, for me, I would do an adrenal 400 for me, and I would probably do 1 3 times a day, depending on where my blood pressure is going. And remember, check both arms for your blood pressures. You're looking at adrenals on top of kidneys, systolic on top of diastolic. And you've got 2 kidneys and 2 adrenal glands, most of you. The brain and nerve 2 and upper circulation is essential, in my opinion. Also, a lymphatic formula or 2 would be essential. You'd have to look at your eyes, Paul, and see how involved is your lymphatic system. We were also yesterday talking about viral loads. People call us with herpes, of course, and HIV and Hep C. Viral loads can't be killed. I mean, the medical doctors have proved that for years. You can't kill proteins, viruses, but you can detox them out of the body, okay? So detoxification is the key, and it's a key to nerve regeneration as well, because you're dealing with the acidosis, the pH of the body, and that affecting the ability of neurons to rebuild. The other thing to this, Paul, and we discussed it about 2 videos ago, the energetics and chemistry of food. So there is no question that if you want the nervous system to regenerate, you can't wallow with cooked dead foods, proteins, dairy products, things like this. You want to step on the highest energetic form of food on the planet, because your nervous system is your electrical department. It doesn't do well with low energy. So when you have a neurological problem and you're eating cooked foods, you have no hope to get better, because there's nothing to regenerate. Your cooked foods are borderline acidic, if not over on into the acidic side. You've destroyed the magnetic energy out of it. You radically altered the chemistry. You bonded the chemistry. So now what you thought was nutritious in its raw state is not the same product cooked. So when you see all these stats sometimes that reflect the raw part of that food source, it is not near the same in the cooked. And we gave milk as an example of that, and why the latest studies show instead of helping your bones, pasteurized milk actually is in part of the process of deteriorating your bones. So it's a big deal to understand the difference. So when you're a neurological case, you want to step on that highest amount of ingestion of energy and chemistry. I don't care what any medical doctor says. Chemistry rules everything. From a chemist's viewpoint, life on this physical world is nothing but variances of pH and interactions of chemistry. You know, the movement of electrons, it's just a whole understanding of chemistry, and you can't get away from that. There isn't anything outside of chemistry in the physical world. So anything that you witness, you can apply chemistry to it. Also, from a physicist's viewpoint, you can apply physics. You can apply electromagnetic energy to things. And in a neurological case, you already can't hold a charge electrically. And as a rule, your adrenal glands are the recharging unit. Think of a rechargeable batteries. And when you run them down, you just stick them in a recharging unit, plug it in, and it recharges them. Well, your adrenal glands are the recharging units for your autonomic nervous system. And when you're chronic in that level, hard to recharge. And then it's hard to recharge when you're eating foods that take away your systemic energy instead of giving it to you. So when you eat a diet of cooked foods, it takes away your energy instead of giving you energy, so you can't build energy. And as that starts to pull you down, your consciousness can get pulled down, and so your feed to the body consciousness-wise is cut down. And of course, then your happiness is involved and everything else. And a poor lad like this, that the wife left, that let the kids come and things like that, it's ridiculous. This world is cruel. Don't you guys be cruel. Don't fall into the problems that this society is here, where people are cruel. They yell at people, they backbite at people all the time. Don't fall into that. Anyway, fruits and berries. I've said this for a lot of videos, but Paul, when it's a neurological case, don't even waste your time with veggies. If you have to work up there, okay, but you want to do a whole diet of fruits, and I would recommend the subacid category. That's your grapes and your pears, your peaches, your apples, your mangoes, those sort of foods. Also, bananas are fine. You could supplement a little superfood too if you wanted to, just to empower you for a little bit. I don't know where you are in terms of your absorption and where your body is. You have to look at your eyes, and that's the beauty of what we're going over here, is your eyes and learning what you have to deal with. How many nerve rings do you have in your eyes? Where are your adrenal glands sitting? Where's your cerebellum, Paul? How does that? So all things, when you're going after your health, you go full bore, 100%. If you screw around and play around, do this and this, that's what you're going to get. You get what you give. You get what you put into something, always. Well established. So when you're an ALS or you're any type where you've lost your capacity neurologically or you have tumors growing through you, put 100% of your effort into your wellness, emotionally, mentally. Get your mind straightened around where you're focused. Learn how to stop thinking at one point and get yourself more energetic that way. Especially neurological cases. Set your mind to the side, your emotions to the side, right? So you want to have, I would head off down the 14-week protocol, because that's the best, quickest way I can tell you what herbs I would recommend. However, I would start from the get-go with upper circulation and brain and nerve for sure. I'd also work on these neurological points, these neurolymphatic points down your back. I would definitely work on those. Any type of reflexology would be helpful to that. Hot and cold if you can, that sort of thing. And that's how I would go. At a certain point in time, you might want to shift to the ultimate immune, only because it has the antler and the ginsengs. At a certain point in time, think of tonics to invigorate, to vitalize. Because this is the game you're at hand here, between your body and the physical world. And you have to understand the chemistry and the physics of this world a little bit, and how you have to be in line with that to get to Wellville. And that's just what's not understood allopathically. And so, but you must understand this to get out of your condition there. And I would stay right at that high level of raw. 100% raw is essential to these deeper issues, always. There's a big difference, and you can experiment with this by going on a diet all raw, but one thing cooked. All right? So spend a few days eating all raw, but you have one cooked meal a day, and then get rid of the cooked meal a day and go all raw for 3 more days, and see the difference in how you feel from just having one cooked meal a day. It's a huge difference. And when you see that, and then see the difference, go on a vegetable diet for a week, and then go on a fruit diet for another week. You know, instead of people coming down on this try it. I mean, you can't make a concerted opinion until you try something. You can make opinions through the mind, but that's bogus knowledge and stuff. Anybody can pervert knowledge. But actual experiences, actual wisdom, is another thing, and so you should try it. You can't lose a thing by trying it. But for an ALS case or an MS case, in a spinal cord case, my opinion is total raw, total 100% fruits, berries, and melons, and as much as you want, as often as you want, but only that. Only that. If you cheat once in a while to keep your sanity, okay. But the herb-wise, you want to get into the kidneys, you want to hit those adrenal glands, you want to check and see if the pituitary is okay for growth factors and other things. So look at the eyes, it'll be very helpful. But be glad to help you, Paul, pull yourself out of this. But you get yourself 100% raw, you get on the herbs, you got to get the kidneys, you got to go after your lymphatic system. As much as we're talking about neurological system, but over here we're talking lymphatic. So how does the two relate? Well, the lymphatic system is the sewer system for all the cells, including neurons. So all your cells, be it neurological cells, liver cells, hepatic cells, pancreatic cells, it doesn't matter. Stem cells, it don't matter. They all eat and eliminate waste. And there are 2 processes that are always essential to the body. That is consumption and elimination. Man is suffering because wrong consumption has broken down his eliminative organs, and now we're into major elimination problems. And we're not just talking about constipation and digestive elimination, we're talking about a far greater problem, and that is the proper elimination of cellular waste. And remember, the body has 100 trillion cells. So this is essential. You have to think of making the body healthy. You're not trying to treat ALS because you'll never go anywhere. This is this whole concept of treatment. And the whole concept of treatment can stay outside of you because that never wins the day. You wouldn't be in a chair if it did. The survival rate in oncology would be totally different. These oncologists buy into their own craziness. You know, and even if you have when they have a 3% survival rate, natural health has a 90%. If they have a 20%, we would have 100%. That sort of thing. Big difference in that sort of thing. But that's kind of what I'm seeing here. Also, make sure you're parathyroid. And the reason for this is calcium, of course. Calcium in nerve transmission, calcium in the connective tissue integrity, and on and on and on and on. So you want to make sure your parathyroid is good. Check your fingernails. Make sure they're strong. Make sure you don't bruise easy. You don't have spider veins. Check your eyes for that. Depression is parathyroid. So check all those things and then go after your parathyroid. It wouldn't hurt to probably do a couple bottles of parathyroid anyway with the superfood blend. You got major calcium. And so all this, as you start to hydrate interstitially, you start to bring this base balance into the body, and you start to back out the inflammation and everything, and where the damage has occurred or where the weaknesses are that are not allowing you to recharge, particularly in the adrenal glands, you're going to correct all that. The other thing to this, of course, and of course it puts you down. Notice how everything puts you down. Rest, rest, rest. Let your body recharge. Just let your body charge and charge and charge up, because your recharging unit is broken, so to speak, genetically weak. So, but you're only 30 years old, and we've said this before. If you're 40 and below, just about go to the bank with weak adrenals and kidneys. And I can probably say that from my age down, to be honest with you. But still, we have to look at these things because the children, imagine you got a 5-year-old daughter, and the concern for me is her in terms of your genetics. And so this is why this snowball that goes down a hill like this, you got to stop it at some time or your line will end. So you've got, and maybe that's the way lines are supposed to, you know, but it's enough to say that if you want to stop this genetic snowball from going down a hill, someone has to stop and get healthy before they start conceiving. That's just as simple as you can get with that. All right, my friend Paul, I hope that helps you out there. I'll put this in here kind of like this to show that because it's right in the middle of everything.
Yes.
I mean, Drew. Oh, somehow my pins get out of here. All right. So now, vid? I don't know. We'll ask Chris. You take care of it. All right. So let's get around and talk about these. Eyes here. We got the lights, camera,
Action.
action. Yeah. Oh, iridology is so much fun. Okay, so let's take this individual here. You want to get them side by side? There we go. You can see why we were talking about earlier the importance of having proper light in there, because then we have to bring another light in here, and it's really time-consuming, and we have to keep doing it when I'm doing a report. So see how so much more light, there's another light source in this eye as opposed to this eye, and how much brighter it is. When you have brown eyes, you really have to try to get some light in there. Even on 245-degree angles, it'll be okay. But you save yourself a lot of money doing it yourself, and you have a before picture. And then you can work on yourself and see what you're doing. Okay, so in this right eye, who is this here? This is Tom. Hey, Tom. Let me see here. He's on the herbs. The only thing I can really do sometimes is close my eyes and go to sleep. It feels more like an endocrine issue. Let's see. I've overcome the worst symptoms like the panic attacks early on, but still have bad fatigue, periodic anxiety, and bad daily brain fog that feels like a vice. And that's another thing. When you guys start feeling pressure in your head, or you have someone that does, let me just say that you want to get rid of it as soon as you can, because we have clients that have extreme head pressure from the lymph system, and I'm going to tell you something, there's nothing funny about it. And of course, this is acid lymph pressure, and that means deterioration can follow. And when it's the brain, nothing good comes of that, that's for sure. Well, let's take a look at this. Tom, you got pretty good genes here, Tom, really, if I'm seeing everything right here. Right here we have a chronic adrenal gland, right side, kidney on this side. We have a buildup of lymph in the right arm and in the liver. Up here in the right shoulder, toward the ear, and I don't know if you're outside of the cerebellum here, but you're real close in terms of a little bit of a weakness and a lot of lymph buildup. That's your equilibrium dizzy center. That could give you brain fog up in here. You're starting to see a little bit of poor circulation develop up here, Tom. You're getting a little halo here and a little, it's like a violet hue that starts to emanate around the eye. That's how you can tell you have poor blood circulation, is this violet hue. And then you'll start to see it turn white. That's actual cholesterol plaquing. I'll say that when you look at your left eye converts to your right eye, if this is the same, because they look a little different, the left side of your body has more genetic weaknesses in it than the right side. Again, if I'm seeing correctly with the picture. Okay, transverse colon, bit of an issue. Here's an upper neck, I think, right in here. There's a little reflection there, hard to see. That looks like prostate, Tom, so be careful there. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi. I have a question that I couldn't find an answer to on a video, so I thought I'd peek in.
Oh, you're good. We're in a video right now.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
What's your stance on spirulina for B12?
Spirulina for B12. All right, B12 is part of the adrenal glands, and the processes of cobalt and the like. So B12 is, if you're deficient in it at all, it's your adrenal glands. And all you have to do is fix that. Because this idea that vegetarians are deficient in B12 is bull crap. We have all kinds of cases where we have vegetarians, vegans, their B12s are just perfect. But it deals with the adrenals, and B12 isn't a vitamin per se, it's like a kind of like a cofactor. And it's just that sort of thing. It needs adrenal glands. So you go after the adrenal glands. If you're not detoxifying, then I don't have a problem with spirulina or chlorella. If you're not detoxifying.
Okay.
But if you're detoxifying, then of course, get your adrenals fixed and your B12 will come up. We had this conversation over in Switzerland one time, and I was sitting talking to the head of Nestle's baby food section. And he was going on about this whole thing about B12, and I said, well, it's a myth that only meat eaters get it, of course, because it's a cofactor of metabolism from the adrenal glands, and so it's not something you can take. I mean, you can make it, but it's something that you have to realize is part of the processes of digestion and everything else in metabolism. So he was going on about that. We were in Shania Twain's house, and then his wife perks up and says, well, honey, I don't eat meat and my B12 is perfect. She said, if I do eat meat, she says, my B12 actually goes down. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But it's just learning that metabolism, when the adrenals are down, since there's a lot of metabolitic steroids there, that it affects a lot of our stats. So have them fix that and absorption and everything, and they'll be fine with that.
Okay.
You don't have to supplement that.
Okay.
I mean, they can if they want, but it's not. I would not. I would let my body naturally produce it as I fix things.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So what we have here in this eye is we have. Looks like this is a leg. That doesn't look like a kidney. It's right there at 6 o'clock. So that looks like a left leg weakness, a left groin weakness. There's a little kidney weakness stuck in here. Adrenal's not as deep, I think, as the right side. But I put your adrenals at subacute to chronic. Here we're picking up a bladder, and this looks like, see, it's not good enough to tell, but this could be a drug deposit, this mass look here, or it could just be heavy, heavy lymph in this area. Now we're starting to get into the lower back, and the mid-back, and the throat, and the thyroid area. This is almost too dark to tell here what's going on. It's just too dark, and this is too much to tell in the brain, my friend. But brain fog and all this, going to upper circ, brain and nerve, get detoxing the bowels more because that controls the brain. And by cleaning up the gut, you allow the brain and the sinuses to detoxify better. You got a little bronchial there with bronchial trunk here. This is, I think, a right ear right in this area. Got some nerve rings there, but not bad. Not bad. The heavier dark brown is, your lymph build up. This is in the lower, about in the lower lobe of the left lung. I can't tell what that is. I need a better picture. But it could be just a buildup of congestion, or it could be a weakness in that lower lobe of the left lung. Can't see up in here where your left ear and medulla and all this is. So I hope that's helpful there, Tom. You've got good genes. And keep digging in there. Remember, when you look at this, the different colorations of brown. The light brown is less lymph. The dark brown is more lymph. Okay. Well, these are pretty bright. Wow. Okay. So this is the left, but you can see. Here's a good example. No, this is the right here. Are these different pictures? Left, Elaine, I mean. Now these are all Elaine's. Okay, these are all Elaine's. But you can see, wow, this picture was taken 5/7/13. Did we have it that long, Drew, do you think?
No. Mm-mm.
I mean, that's a long time ago. I hope you're still watching, sweetheart. You know, but you can see the difference in pictures when the picture isn't done good enough. Look at the difference between these two pictures of how much more you can see in this picture as opposed to this picture. You get a more determination of proper colors here and so forth. So it's how you take these pictures, really. But I still say you guys are doing marvelous, marvelous. Well, again, we're going to go right around the pupil. That's your GI tract. Remember, immediately around the pupil is the GI tract. Immediately around the pupil is the stomach, and the bowel's on the outside. She has a very, very thick malabsorption ring. Now, what would give you the first clue that she does have malabsorption? And I think we can move over to this left one, Drew. That thick, see that white thick rope right around this? It actually draws you a picture of the GI tract and the design of the GI tract. Whether she has a prolapsus, and this is the splenic flexure, so she has some prolapsus going on right there, but there's a big genetic weakness sitting right there, which actually came off of that part of the bowel in the embryonic stages. And this is emanating right up to the left ear and up into the mastoid and maybe even picking up some medulla. So this case would have equilibrium, or has the potential to have equilibrium, dizziness, vertigo, swinging blood pressures up and down, that sort of thing. This is a heart lesion here. It's kind of opened, but I would strengthen my heart. Remember how we said, and this is Dr. Jensen's take as well, is that in these genetic weaker areas, we have lymph backing up. We have a poor, as it is, cells are weak, it has a weakened lymph and blood flow. And I've said I can't speak to the blood flow, but look at the lymph. You see the lymph building around the heart area. So this could be a case, if you're not careful, where you could end up with congestive heart failure in the future. You want to strengthen that heart. In the bronchioles and lungs, you've got mucus building up there. This is the left chest, breast area. That's a weakness with a lot of lymph. Right there is a situation that could become bad. So you want to clean all that out. This is the spleen area, so you might want to do the spleen formula for a couple of bottles just to get in there and open that up. But you see this thick lymph around this lacuna, this lesion here? You see that thick white stuff? That shows you the lymph is backed up in there, and it'll suffocate that weakness off, just like you see cancer cells are sucked off with mucus. And it does it as a protection. It's all about acidosis. It's all about chemistry. Whether a medical doctor wants to realize that or not. This is a groin weakness, and of course a lot of inflammation in the left hip. And this thick white stuff is thick lymph that's stagnant, and so it's impacting the hip, the groin here, and here is the left leg. The whole left leg is weak. When we move a little over to the left here, we have a kidney weakness right here. The adrenal glands is lost in this thick white lymph. You could get a tumor on the adrenal gland like that, a cyst on the adrenal gland like that, because that's all the lymph system there. Here we got rectum. This is the rectal wall right here. So there's weaknesses in the rectal wall, and you want to strengthen that. This is a case where you could do small little implants of Hill T or something, not enough to have a bowel movement and enough to firm up this weakness, because this is a weakness coming that's not good, and I'm sure this person has had hemorrhoids. Maybe a female tad bit. Who is this? Is this a female or a male? Oh, 57-year-old female. Sinuses are pretty backed up in here, and then this is trying to develop up into the forehead and up into the head area here. The thyroid gland has some genetics in it, and the throat, tonsils all full of mucus. Back has spattered weaknesses down, not too bad. Now on this one, see all these little dots here? These are lymph nodes. You don't have a lymphatic rosary, but you do have your lymph nodes swollen in places. And this is in the throat, the thyroid gland, and the tonsil area. Up in the upper neck, you've got a buildup, and in the upper T-spine, a little bit of mid, and then moving down toward your lower back. So you got little weaknesses up and down the back. Get that lymph moving, break these lymph nodes loose, get this lymph moving. As we're moving down in here, we're moving toward a little bladder weakness. This is kidney, and a lot of lymph building up in that kidney, so be careful there. You want to get this kidney opened up. A lot of inflammation in your upper femur. A little bit of groin here. Yeah, it's probably gallbladder. So it wouldn't hurt to clean your gallbladder. Here's a little liver issue here too. So it wouldn't hurt to get into the gallbladder, liver. If you have any kind of pancreatic issue here, it'll pick that up with it. You look better here on the right side than you do the left side. Again, here's a little pituitary. I'll say a little, that's fairly chronic. And if we go over to the left side, we're into the same kind of soup there. So that might be an issue. Another issue I see here, and I don't know, we're getting a reflection here in the eye, so it's not enough to tell about cataracts, but you got a little piece right here that looks like a cataract. So it looks to me like you're developing cataracts. That's not my field, but something to think about. That would go with all this lymph up in here because, again, cataracts are cholesterol. Cholesterol is an antacid, of course, and of course you see it in the presence of acids or into the presence of the lymphatic system. So I hope that's helpful. Now, what you do about all these things that we're talking about is the same. Here's the problem. Medical doctors treat everything differently. We treat everything the same. Is that scary? It's scary because a lot of people think, how can you treat a cancer the same as MS or Lou Gehrig's? Well, we don't in that respect. But we don't look at things as diseases. So then we don't treat. We're going after the health of the body. And everybody has done the same thing to wreck their health, just different types of food, but pretty much the same type of chemistry throughout generations on this planet. And to ignore the lifestyle of humans, eating way out of their physiology and anatomy is ridiculous to try to think that there's no relationship there. These eyes are unreadable. I don't know who this is. These eyes are unreadable to me. I mean, you can see a few things, but it's not enough to really... These are old, guys. I apologize. These are old eyes you've sent us. We've had there. We just haven't. This is Victor, right eye. I don't know, Drew. And left eye. All right. Well, it's obvious the color. These are blue eyes. But what's this thick brown stuff? Look how thick that is. This picture that he did this way, you can see the kind of light source. It made you look good for you, so you can give some three-dimensional look to this. And that gives you a look at how deep your lacunas are in these places. See how deep and dark these are? So I don't like anything that's dark and deep like this. You want to take seriously and get in there and fix them. Well, to get up into the head area, you want to move blood more aggressively into these weakened areas, right? That would just be appropriate. That'll move chemistry, oxygen, all the good stuff into these weakened areas. So in increasing circulation to the brain, you're increasing oxygenated nutritional blood up into these tissues up in here. Now, some of the herbs for upper circulation is also good for neurons, is also good for the actual brain tissue itself. But when you get into brain and nerve formulas, either one or two, those are all neuron foods or regenerators. And that's what I would be working with up in this area here. Upper circuit, brain and nerve would be very essential here because these spots, and you see them up in here, they're a form of radii solaris, how they go up, radii radiating out, solaris. And this is radiating up into the ear, the mastoid, medulla, cerebellum. So if you don't have equilibrium or serious problems with that, I'm just totally amazed. It will be coming because this is serious up in here. The right side, notice how you see a lot more blue up in the left side than you do the right side, and that's because this thick lymph, this right side is not filtering as much as the left side. And you can see that by the amount of lymph that's backing up in the right side. Now here we go. We see the kidneys, we see the adrenals and the chronic, we see a leg, we see a hip here, we see a little pancreatic, gallbladder, liver. So you've got several points of weaknesses that you want to really get to and work on. The first thing is to open up this kidney and get this adrenal up and get all this lymph moving, get into the bowels and start cleaning the bowels. The stomach, it looks like it's been burnt or very weak in places. So you want to be careful with that. It's only in a few places though, which is good. Looks like you got a lot more genetics on the right side than your left side. See, some of these are reflections, and you have to be real careful about analyzing eyes that have reflections because you don't want to be wrong in your analysis. See these nerve rings? You got nerve rings up in the head area. So these nerve rings go way up into your forehead and up into your central nervous system as well. So you've got two nervous systems that need help, central and autonomic. So you got the left side, you got a real chronic kidney, hip, maybe even groin right here. We're looking at rectal wall weakness. We're looking at prostate, a lot of lymph building up in the bladder. Some lower back here, hard to tell what's going on too much here. Definitely pituitary is down. You could have an impact here in the left shoulder. I'm not sure, that's real close to it. A little spleen going on here. But you got to dig in. That's what detox is all about. Getting in and getting all this thick chronic lymph out of here, and that'll help to get into these holes. Because here's an example. We talked about it on the last one where we saw the lymph around a lacuna. Well, detox is the only way you're going to break that loose. To get that lacuna, to get more blood and lymph flow out of it. It just makes sense. It just makes sense to do that. This is L-E-I-L-A, Leela?
Yeah. Layla?
Layla. Laszlo. Oh, this is her husband. This is the husband. Okay.
You sure?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd be so grateful to take a quick look at her eyes. Here I submit my husband.
Okay.
Laszlo's eyes. 36-year-old male. He did 120 days of juice. How did that one guy he came 108 days. He did grapes, lemons, dry fasting. Mm-hmm. This lad just did it just the other day. He did 108 days.
Awesome.
That's awesome. He kicked butt.
Wow.
Really butt. I was going to read how well he did here, but I haven't got to it yet. Family history of diabetes, so where are we going at? We're going to the adrenal glands, right? Still looks like undigested food, sometimes pancreas. Right on, honey. Bad night, coughing for 2 months in springtime every year, sometimes lower back problems. You got it, sweetheart. Let's take a look at him. Well, the first thing that hits us right off is that these are blue eyes that look green, right? So, what do we got? Look at all this yellow all over the place here. This is probably more of a subacute stage of weakness as it is sulfur. Sulfur has a more defined orangish look. This is just yellowish all through here. That's the yellow mucus you get out in cold and flu-like symptoms, a subacute stage. This one you can really see your bowel design well. You can really see the bowel design right here. Oh, look, you got chunky hunky right here, in and out. So this is when you see bowels in x-rays that have prolapses or they're spastic or narrowed, things like this. And you have that a little back here in the cecum area here, but not bad. Again, you got a little malabsorption going on here because your lymph system's backed up in that bowel wall. You can follow that little cord right around the bowel wall there, and then it becomes obvious. You know, when this is cleaned out of here, the brown ring goes away and you start feeling absorption. You start feeling nutrition coming in. The sinuses a little bit, little bronchi, not much in that way. Down here we got, let me see, that looks like a big fat right knee. A kidney and adrenals here, of course. Here's the lower back in this area. We also have a little mid-back, mid to upper T-spine. This is a hip. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, that's more of a hip. Pancreatically, I think it's just saturated with lymph. So if anything, the digestive enzymes of the pancreas is being suppressed by heavy, heavy inflammation or lymph. If anything, I'd get into the liver gallbladder. That's going to trip because a lot of the herbs that are for liver and gallbladder tissue are also good for pancreatic tissue, so I would just shift over there. I'll say this, down his back is thick lymph. So that's where you would use the neurolymphatic points. All this thickness of lymph is running right down the back here. But look at this skin ring. So we're seeing kidneys here, skin here. So how's your husband eliminating? See, that's the issue. We just think of elimination as stool. We know we pee. We think it might be tied to what we eat. But really, your peeing is more tied to what your cells are eating. Now over here, now another thing we see is nerve ring here. We don't see a lot of them, but we see, a couple here. That takes you right back to the adrenals. Now, in this case, that looks like the 6 o'clock position. I'm way over here, but that would be the leg in the 6 o'clock position. Even though this is a little up from that, my guess is this is the kidneys. It's too pronounced right there not to be the kidneys. This could be side of the leg, the groin a little bit. It's right there with the leg and groin. Also, that might be a left knee there. Definitely a right knee on the other side. Here's lower back. So the left side, it has a much greater lower back weakness than the right side. Then when we get up into the throat and neck, we're also witnessing a pretty good weakness right here. You're going to have a sore throat when you detoxify with that. You're going to feel your lower back. Everywhere you see a weakness in your body, you could feel that during detoxification, and we call those healing crises. Again, up in your cerebellum, you see a marked area here of a bit of involvement. So, and this could be the mastoid area. So, again, you could be prone for lightheadedness, dizziness, eye problems, because this is where the optic nerves swing around in as well. Also, real quick, look how small the pupils are. There. Okay, this looks like a female. Nope, this is Ben. Good eyelashes, Ben. That's all I got to say.
Awesome.
Pretty eyelashes for a man. I wonder if that's where they got the Grinch. The idea for the Grinch is put two eyes like that together. When you open them up like that, it looks like the Grinch, don't it?
Awesome.
That Grinch.
Great photos, too.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah, a little small for us because you're too far away. You should be right up to this eye, so you make the eye almost the whole picture. Because when you're getting too small here, we're squinting and...
I mean, they had the right idea, though.
We had the right idea, absolutely. Absolutely.
The iris.
Absolutely. But again, this looks a lot like the last eye, doesn't it? It's a blue eye, but look at all this thick white stuff. That's just what you don't want to see. And this is sulfur. See the orangey look here? So you got sulfur in the gut. Some of it's up in the pituitary, up in the sinuses maybe a little bit. Wherever you see sulfur, that area is going to be a little harder to drain and to hydrate lymphatically. Here's a skin ring, same type of thing here. We got the same thing here. We got kidneys and adrenals. We got thick, thick lymph all through the body here. This is through the upper leg, the groin, the hip, the testicle on the right side. This is liver gallbladder. You want to get in there and work on your liver gallbladder. You want to clean your bronchial trunks out. Get into the lungs and clean them out. Hard to see right in there in the thyroid area. Everything is way too small here to really get a good look here. This is the lower back area here. But all this thickness here is just thick, thick lymph. And that's what masses and tumors are made from. You can at times, when you see this, correlate between an x-ray or a CAT scan where they find tumors, you can find them in the eye, the same place. And of course you would. Got some lymph nodes swollen around the body here quite a bit. You want to deal with those. Because remember, the lymph node is in between the cell and the kidney and skin, and you want to keep those babies opened up. Those are your septic tanks. And again, you get the sulfur around here, you got a malabsorption ring, you have thick lymph in here. Look at, this is the sigmoid area. You've got a spastic area there, if not heavily prolapsed. You might want to strengthen the heart up a little bit. It's hard for me to see this, could just be bronchial trunk. But again, that's right at the heart area. I would probably strengthen my heart anyway. Go after your skin, the thyroid gland here. There's a little throat weakness going on, a little back. Here's in the T-spine, a little in the L-spine, lumbar, more kidney, lower back related. That's the lower part of the body, of course. So, you know, when you see these kind of eyes, you can just go after yourself. You just go after yourself. You know, the kidneys and adrenals are at the doorway of the lymphatic system, so you're going to go after those. You're going to go after your lymph system. You want to shift to the raw foods to hydrate yourselves and to start loosening up all this hardened mucus that's been in you for years. You know, and start working this out. Things take a while sometimes, but at least there's your remedy. And most places don't offer you remedies. They offer the word remission, or you're stuck, there's nothing for you, that sort of crap. These are ones you gave me for outlines. Wow. Let's do these. I don't know if we... These are pretty old. I don't know how long we've had them. Oh yeah, they're so old. It's just
very.
Yeah, they're just sticking to them. But let's throw one eye up here for a minute. This is Danielle.
Yeah, he's the right one.
These were all back in 13. Oh my God, guys, I have to tell you, they've been hiding under a bunch of stuff for us. Her other eye, yeah, I mean, this is this person needs to get in and invigorate the body here. You just see a lot of weaknesses all over the place. This is heavy skin weakness. This is heavy sulfur, if not other drugs involved here in the stomach and bowel area. The stomach is being highly suppressed here. It's just a mess in the GI tract in this case. Now look at all the nerve rings around here. You just really want to get into this body and start invigorating it. This is a right leg, a right kidney, a groin, a little bit of a hip, a little bit of a pancreas, and gallbladder liver. So that whole area needs to be worked on. Again, now we're getting into a bladder here as well. So as we get into these areas, you got to get them fixed up here. A lot of lymph and inflammation down the back, swollen throat area here. You got to be careful about these swellings, because if you don't allow them to come out as you create them, they'll just form a tumor or a cyst. Pretty good genes all in all, but it looks like the eye's fading away. So one needs to invigorate. I don't know if it's the color of the eyes. This seems to be proper. But look at this big, huge kidney weakness. Huge. And so you got to get and fix these things. This is kidney, this rectal, here's bladder, coccyx. Here you got more lymph nodes swelling in the bronchial trunks. I mean, you have to be real careful here. This eye needs to be detoxed and invigorated. I don't know who these are. And again, these go way back into the 13. If you're not still online with this, some people probably won't get their answers to this, which I apologize dearly. But it'll help you guys to see what other people are going through. Okay. What's the first thing that pulls to your attention, Drew? This?
Skin and the, cholesterol ring?
Cholesterol ring.
Yep.
Cholesterol. There is some skin. But not too bad. It's a cholesterol. And there's the cataract that goes with it. They're hand in hand. Sometimes the cataract forms first. But you see that thick hazel look? And look up here. So immediately you want to think upper circulation. This is obviously a female. Well, I shouldn't say that nowadays. Chronic adrenal gland. Kidney, not too bad. Again, here's a little more bladder, uterine weakness in this area here. So you want to detoxify, get in the vaginal wall, get in the uterus, do yourself some douching for a couple of weeks. This is a lot of lymph in the lower back area here, which would be because the kidney kickback. You know, when the kidneys are not filtering, they're just going to blow back. And, of course, being that the lower back and the spinal fluid and all this is part of this, you're going to blow back the lower back, and that's just what you're doing. Good genes, though. Really good genes. There's some nerve rings, of course, but that comes out of that chronic adrenal gland right there. You got malabsorption. You see a little ring around the pupil here, but I don't see it so bad you're not going to get a hold of that. Up top here, though, we have radius solaris, a few of them. Looks like we have one, even though this is real bright. I kind of see something here in the pituitary area going up in the automation lifeline, ego pressures, and things like this. So you want to take a look at those things. I don't get too much in defining your mental and emotional states. That's a personal thing. I don't really get involved in that too much. This is your right ear and right shoulder. Going over to the left side, again, we got kidney and adrenals, rectal. This is more bladder, thick lymph down the back over here, a little lower to mid back here. About the same cholesterol type of situation it looks like here. But for the most part, pretty good genes. Let me see, that looks like a groin weakness, and that looks like a left ovary weakness. So, good genes here. It's just way too acidic. Here's the issue, and I don't see the cholesterol on the left side as much as I do on the right. Now look at this. But when you look at the adrenal gland on the left side, it's not near as bad. It's still chronic, but it's not near as bad as that one. So where the body is the weakest, you see the most involved. And this is also true about the cholesterol plaquing. And of course, the cataract is worse on the right side again. So it's that sort of thing there. She has psoriasis. Cleared up when I was on a week-long fast, eating only fruits, but returned when I ate wheat. Unfortunately, while on the fast, was too sensitive to smells and would literally feel sick or even have strange electrical light impulses pass through me if I touched someone. Very toxic, or got sympathetic pain from them. Look at that. Example, she shook hands with a guy and suddenly had a stabbing pain in her knee and asked him if his left knee was in pain, and he said yes. Yeah, that brings up another point that we can discuss in another video about the psychic sensitivities that some of you are going to have and you're going to wake up to. And that's another thing that you're promoting in your growth and health, is your ability to perceive and understand things even with other people. So you have to be real careful about allowing energetics to transfer from another person into your beingness. You have to learn to put up a mirror in front of you, or you'll pull right into you that just the thing that happened to you. And this is well known in the medical world and in a lot of worlds, where if you take on something too much, you start taking on all the symptoms. But also, a lot of you are psychic, very easy, and so be careful about that. You don't want to take on anybody else's problems. This is a female, of course, obvious. The late 40s, trouble with psoriasis, of course, and there's the skin. I'll tell you, you see skin weakness here, but I think she has more psoriasis on the right side probably than she has the left. See that thick skin right there? That could definitely be psoriasis or eczema or something. But you invigorate. You get the kidneys filtering. You invigorate the body with living foods and herbs. You can dry skin, brush the skin, hydrotherapy, hot and cold therapy on the skin. There's a way to invigorate the whole body here. And that's what you want to do. Use salt water to help the symptoms, but make salt baths or get into the ocean.
Ellie. This is Ellie.
This is Ellie, yep. And there's only one eye to Ellie. No, there's two eyes.
There, good.
Good deal. Good
awesome.
Deal. Okay. Wait a minute. Yeah, right and left. Okay, this is Ellie. I apologize if it's been so long for these guys, but I felt it's more important to address your health concerns as opposed to teaching your iridology, especially for the last couple of years. Now that we have plenty of videos that teach you about all of this, this is just redundant material, and I know some of you might get bored with this, but the more that each one, I can add stuff that I'm not thinking about on other ones that come out. And so there's always some good stuff, hopefully, in each video for you. But you can't think of everything all the time. I've had so many years with this that I have so much crammed in there, as anybody would, that has that many years involved. It just, it just took the right time for it to come out, because I don't go chasing my mind too much, obviously. Again, we are starting almost a lymphatic rosary, because look at all these humps and dumps here. These are all these little bright headlights are your lymph nodes. They look nice genes, though. Ooh, I really like these genes. But again, let's go back to the bow area again, and here's that little bow rope, that bow wall rope, that lymph bow wall rope that you see, and then there you see the malabsorption ring right around the pupil. I don't know, there's a little hazy look in these pupils, and I don't know if I like that. So let's take a look at this. This is a little groin, not bad, a little groin here. Hip, you got a little inflammation and lymph in that hip area. There's some genetics in the left ovary, the right ovary and the pancreas. A little light weakness in the gallbladder. This is lower chest wall, maybe even impacting the elbow and upper arm. A little spot up in the brain here. You want to get upper circumbraining nerve, get that out. Sinus is impacted just a little bit here. A little pocketed area and a prolapsed area of your transverse colon, particularly around the hepatic flexure there. A little ballooning or pocketed area in that transverse bowel. And you can just see the design of your colon when you look at that. Here's a big pituitary weakness. See how it slices all the way up and deep into the brain centers? Again, little weaknesses up in the head area, so you want to get up in there with upper circumbraining nerve and strengthen, strengthen, strengthen. Let's look over here for a minute. Here's the kidney, of course. Here we go. Here's your big kidney weakness. The adrenals, that's probably, even though it's real close to the femur, I'm going to take that probably to be the adrenal gland there. So subacute, maybe with minor chronic involvement. Here is vaginal wall. And so you want to strengthen the vaginal wall here, or you'll start having atypical cells if you haven't had already. So the Heal-All Tea is a good strengthener there. Take a couple of weeks and douche at night and stuff. That would be very helpful. Head of the bladder's got a lot of congestion in that. But then you see the lymph nodes swollen down your back. And so you want to get those lymph nodes opened up there. Good genes, though. These are all open lacunas, but there's minor weaknesses in the bronchial areas. Need to just clean those lungs out and get the bronchioles cleaned out. You'll be good with that. Here, get a little more kidney weakness, rectal wall weakness, vaginal wall weakness, bladder weakness, all in this area right here. Not real deep, but enough to say you want to work on them a little bit. This is all open up to the upper throat, head area, upper T, C, and throat area here. Got some inflammation up in the cerebellum a little bit there, but not bad. This is let me see. This looks to be left hip, but not bad. Worried about the dark spots. Okay, these dark spots are drug deposits, and they look like iodine, but it's hard to tell. They're almost not red enough. These are probably drug deposits or sore spots, which are probably drug deposits. So I would say that more than likely they're drug deposits. I don't think they're into the tissue where you see an actual decay of tissue. I don't think that. They look like more sore spots. Most of these are in the colon. These are in the colon here. This is in the uterus. This is in the head of the femur. This is in the head of the hip and the bow. This was within the stomach. And this is in the bronchial trunk. Now, drugs tend to do that. They tend to find a place and stay in there a while, especially if you're not moving lymph. Or if the lymph nodes are swollen all over the place, you're not filtering lymph. This eye is, there's no way I can see that eye, honey. There's no way I can see your eyes. Well, let me put the guy up here first. Maybe I can get them both up here. I don't think that's going to happen for me today. That's too much, too good.
Almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
The one thing I can see, sweetheart, is I can see your skin ring. And see how small you have to get in here? So I see something, what looks like liver, gallbladder, maybe pancreas. See, and to say these things without accuracy is troublesome to me. Definitely the kidneys are here, the head of the femur is here, mid-back is here, lower back is here. Here's your left breast area. Be real careful, honey. Left kidney. This is near the spleen area. So look at this throat area. Might be a little thyroid even. The left hip area. So real hard to see. They're just way too far. You can see we need eyes more like this than eyes like that.
Hold it up again. There you go.
See, you're too far away. You want to be within a few inches. Now here's the hubby or boyfriend or something, and he's got a little bit of a belly. Hairy. So what causes so much hair? Probably too much testosterone. And you want to be careful with too much testosterone because in the acid condition of the body, where the kidneys aren't filtering, you'll definitely end up with prostate problems. Same type of thing with this lad, although what stage is he in opposed to her? Her eyes are more white. His is more what? Yellow. So that is a subacute stage. His lymph system is a little more involved. But looky here. He's like his woman here. He's locked. See the skin ring? This could even be brother and sister. But he has a thick skin ring here.
Very dark.
And a little kidney. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's not eliminating well at all. And his lymph system is in more of a subacute. I see a little bit of liver gallbladder here with him. I can't tell if this is on the hip side or on the pancreatic side. It's enough to say we have a kidney and adrenal here. We have a lower back here. This is almost impossible to really give you a good analysis for, but I will suggest that submit there's a little bit of sulfur in your eye, my friend. This is up in your tonsil area. This is a little spattered weakness down your back, lower back, bladder. Really just too hard for me to see it, to give you an opinion, so I apologize dearly for that. But it's enough to say your lymph systems are needing work.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. All right, we're just about to the end of this.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah,
Looks like Mother Earth.
Mother Earth.
Look at that.
Yeah,
Doesn't it?
this is Mika.
I like it.
Is this Mika? Micah?
Mika. Is that from her or him?
This could be our dear friend. Yeah, this is our shaman friend, I think.
Micah.
Mm-hmm. Micah. All right, Micah. Let's take a look at these eyes of yours, son. The Crystal Man. All right. So what we see here is lymph nodes. And see how yellow they're looking? This is all looking yellow. So this is a subacute stage of weakness here, or a subacute stage of involvement with the lymph. So we've got a lot of lymph nodes here, and it's right under the skin, of course, and we want to clean all that out and get his skin opened up and sweating. That's real important. His head area is filling up here a little bit with that, and this is really right in the pituitary area. So we need to think about that. and think about fixing the pituitary area. You're a little bit over here in the left side, but look at how thick the head area is up here in the left side. Very thick up here. And the bowel wall, this is the colon wall, and it's pretty thick. Now, this is a genetic weakness. Do you see how this sets in? This is a perfect genetic weakness. It almost looks like a football, and it's wedged right into the wall itself. You know that's for sure genetics. And that is where? Right at left ear. It's right at the left ear. I'd have to map this out, but pretty sure we're at the left ear there. It could be the part of the shoulder, affecting part of the shoulder. This is up in the cerebellum, lightheadedness, equilibrium, dizzy, that sort of thing. So we've got to get up and you have the sinuses and get up the head and drain all this out of here. The GI tract, pretty good genes, but the GI tract needs to be invigorated because you've got spastic, pocketed, you got all kinds of things going on in that area. Bronchial trunks. Right here you have, you want to hold this up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so over here, this is the head of your femur. This is right at the head of the left femur here, going into this hip over here. And you've got a hip and a femur. You want to get these kidneys filtering so you can invigorate this this hip and this leg here. This is the groin right here. As you move there, you got a little rectal thing going on here, but you got a lot of lymph in the prostate. A lot of lymph going on in here. Then we pick up a bladder weakness. And then we pick up the lower and mid back here. A lot of, see how thick that lymph is? That all's got to break loose. Break loose. The stomach and bowel, there's malabsorption, of course, going on here. The stomach, you see a very narrow stomach ring. You see that perfect stomach ring all the way around. Perfect circle around the pupil. You see it real light here. But you can see that there's been a lot of acids involved in this gut tissue because it needs to be invigorated. That's all I can say about it. Over here, this is lower rib area on the right side, close to the right arm. We might see here a little pancreatic weakness here, a little right hip weakness going on here. The appendix is not real happy. And again, some more upper femur issues here. The kidney's better on this right side, but the adrenals are chronic here. But that's what makes for shamans and and spiritual people is weak adrenals. We all got them. Again, more evidence of bladder, lower back here, bladder, lower back. Here again, we're talking about mid to upper neck. Here's an upper neck, C-spine, and then throat weakness, thyroid going on here. So we just got a lot of lymph, getting the skin opened up, getting the kidneys to filter, invigorate the GI tract, clean out the bronchioles and lungs, get the sinuses and head drained.
Overall, nice.
Overall, nice.
Yeah.
We've got about one or two more here and we're done. Sorry that this takes so long, and these are old eyes. Apologize for that. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
I really like these. The blues.
Yeah, again, these are brown. I mean, I just throwing, yeah. But more light in this would make for a better picture. See how the left turned out a lot better than the right? But still, a little more light in these pictures will be helpful. Because again, shining a flashlight in them, we shouldn't have to do that when you're looking at your eye.
Major lacuna.
Oh yeah,
Big time.
oh yeah, here we go. See, all these are lacunas. The deeper, darker ones are crypts. But sometimes, depending upon the picture, they look deeper than they are, or not as deep as they are. So that's why the best picture you can get gives you the more accurate reading. I would put this into medium constitution or lower, because there's just so many weaknesses in all these places that to work on, that this individual should make health their lifestyle. So here we go. We're in the lymphatic rosary again. So we have lymph nodes swollen all over the place. And in that, of course, the skin's down a little bit. We have what's picked up as sulfur around the bow. Now, if I didn't have the light, it would be hard to tell. That's orange, wouldn't it? But you got sulfur. See that brown, it's black or brown malabsorption ring around the pupil? That's directly related to all this sulfur and lymph around the gut area. This is bronchial trunk. I mean, the heart's right in here, and there could be some minor genetic heart in there. But I'd want to get my bronchial trunks, my lungs cleaned out again. Here's the ear, the cerebellum. You've got, this again, back in the equilibrium center. I don't see a lot of nerve rings. If this person had nerve rings, they would be the setup for MS or Lou Gehrig's, because your cerebellum's involved quite a bit. Pituitary's involved. Heavy, thick lymph around the pituitary. You want to be careful with that one. So we really need to get up in this head, upper circumbranial nerve, and then start getting it, go after the bowels, go after the kidney and adrenals. See how I'm redundant on these things? And that's important, because once you get it, you got it. And no one can take truth away from you. And once you understand how everything's connected, then you have proper detoxification, and then you have proper effects. What's the time? Here we go.
Yeah, 12:32.
Okay, so we're going to wind this down here. But again, we've got a lot of throat, thyroid, back. There's weaknesses almost, and it starts to sound like it's too much. But you've got weaknesses in many different places. Here's a big, huge weakness. Let me see if I can see. That looks like the bladder area. This is the leg area. Now this could be, if this is a female, this could be the vaginal wall. However, I believe that's probably the bladder. This is more vaginal uterine or prostate. If it's a male, that's more bladder, lower back, coccyx. Your whole back on the left side has serious problems involved. Upper neck all the way down. So this is the time to get into this body, clean it out, and invigorate it. Could be a drug deposit or lymph nodes that are not happy. I hope that's not the case. But so these are the sort of things that you see in individuals. Let me see what's going on. When detoxifying, how often should one consume avocados and or hemp oil? Well, not a lot.
Yeah.
When you're detoxifying, you don't want to have complex food sources involved, because that's the whole idea of the whole concept of fasting. And nature has created that whole concept. So it's the withdrawal of the need to process food so the body can turn its energy to detoxification. And if you can feel it on your cells when you do a grape fast versus a lemon fast versus a water fast versus a dry fast. You can experiment with all four of these, and you'll see on yourselves, and then you have the experience to explain to someone else the difference between these four processes. And you can start out with the vegetables. Start out eating vegetables, raw vegetables for a week, then do raw fruit for a week, and then do water for a week, and then do dry fasting for a day or two. And just, for yourself, and see what's going on there. Does raw honey slow down detoxification? I don't think too much, to be honest with you. You little dabble do you on that one. One finger lick once in a while. Are garlic and onions a no-no when detoxifying? Absolutely a no-no. They're sulfurs, and we're trying to get rid of sulfur out of the body, and they're more of an irritant than they are nutritive. Apple cider vinegar, forget that one. I mean, fermentation, you want to get away from fermentation. Fiji versus Aquapana, I'm not sure. Both are pretty good pHs, I think. Trouble with Fiji water is it comes in plastic.
I prefer the glass.
Yeah, I prefer the glass.
Push the
always.
glass,
Always.
Yeah.
If seeded watermelons are unavailable, should one settle for seedless? You have to. Once you wake up to this, then we wake up to the serious problem we have in agriculture. We have a serious agricultural problem.
Whatever I could get,
Yeah, we have the medical world destroying everything,
right,
including our food sources. This whole concept of bacteria and the lack of understanding of terrains and how we set up ourselves for that is a big deal. If one has a history of using excessive quantities of Vicodin, Xanax, cigarettes, the weed, the Big Macs, what issues would you expect for them to experience? Well, you could have a little neurotoxic kick from some of that to where your nervous system is down a little bit. So you definitely want to invigorate the adrenals, the autonomic nervous system with brain and nerve type formulas and that sort of thing. Outside of that, basically you've got your bowels pretty backed up lymphatically and with sulfur and your lymph nodes. So you want to get in and break all that loose, but then you want to go after these weaknesses that you see. It would be very advisable to deal with the parathyroid gland, because when I look at your structures here, your bony structures, you've got issues in there a little bit. So I definitely think about the parathyroid, think about getting the skin to invigorate that and to sweat, get the kidneys to filter, and then just let your body heal itself all around that thing. All right. We've got... right eye, right eye. I don't get that.
Two different
Are they two different ones?
people?
Hi, Dr. Morse. It's Mark. Hi, Mark. Here's a comparison pic of my right eye before going 80% raw and 2 months later. Do you think I'm improving and clearing that lymph? All right, so let's see. Before and after. You know, the hard thing to tell, my friend, is you got two different types of eyes here. And your right eye on the bottom, your new eye from what you've been doing, is a totally different look than your other eye, so really difficult. When you're looking for improvements, what you want to look for, of course, is these areas of darkness, have they receded or are they receding? All right, so we're looking at this area here, which is almost about 9 o'clock here. So if I come over here at 9 o'clock here, this is this area here. Very difficult to see how much. It doesn't look like it extends to the skin like it did. It definitely looks a little smaller in that area, but you really need to have some good pics if you're going to do some befores and afters, because you want to be accurate in your look here. You'll see this. Hard to tell, see? It's just really hard to tell with these two pics. Give yourself 6 months for various changes in your eye.
Right.
I would say that.
At least, right?
Yeah, at least give yourself 6 months, because
Sure.
it takes that. And
Look at this one.
this is one more. This is the last one, guys. Okay, this is Alina. Well, you can see in the sclera here all these blood vessels. And of course, these are all representative tissues. Everything is interlocked. That's all I can tell you. God, everything is linked. Everything is linked to the Godhead. Everything is linked in every way, shape, or form, because everything comes out of that. It's like building something. Everything comes out of the materials. Well, same type of thing. Notice when you go to the GI tract, you got a little dropping right here of the hepatic flexure. This should go up instead of down, so you got it prolapsed here. When you see it prolapsing, you want to kind of move over and look and see if there's a parathyroid. I see a little thyroid weakness, and that's right at the parathyroid gland. I come over here, and this bow is ballooned right at the parathyroid gland right here, and there's something going on in the colon. You could have a parathyroid down because of the bowels. You have to understand that all these tissues are a product of the embryo and the parent cell and all this kind of thing. But you see that wall, again, more lymph stuck in the wall, so you see malabsorption going on. All this white here is all lymph. Pretty good genes off and all, but still, take a look at this. Here's a big, wicked adrenal and kidney weakness right here. Here's a leg weakness, a groin weakness, and a little hip weakness. We get here, this is left breast area. If it's a female, obviously, left breast, don't like that look right there, so be careful with that. Bronchial trunks, you need to get in, clean the lungs out. Here's the skin ring. So you want to get in and deal with this. Here's the right kidney and adrenal weakness right here. Here's a knee or below weakness on the right leg, a groin weakness, appendix weakness. Here we have a hip weakness, maybe a little ovarian weakness on that side as well. Bronchial trunk. Here's, again, left chest, left breast area. right breast area. So right breast, left breast, both are at issue, especially this right. That's right in the breast area. Clean out the bronchial trunks. Here's scattered weaknesses up in the C-spine, T-spine, L-spine, that sort of thing. Again, more kidney right here. This would be then vaginal wall. Okay. How you go after them is the same. It's the same. You eliminate all stuff. You get on. People always ask us. See, that's this right here. Adrenal diet, 2 to 3 months. Foods to eliminate are sugar, white, brown, and raw, honey, molasses, corn syrup, maple syrup, dried fruit, and fruit juice. I don't know what all foods to rebuild the adrenals. Oh, I see. I don't know what it's talking about here. I haven't had a chance to read this. Chronic anxiety as a child. You know, when you have chronic anxiety, anxieties are neural, emotional. That's adrenals every time. That's, of course, kidneys, adrenals, lower back. All of that's always involved. So much that I didn't even know I had anxiety until I began to have panic attacks. See, and that's, again, when you have these weaknesses and then you get neurotoxins, everything just starts going down, down, down. Your kidney and adrenals stick out pretty predominant in both eyes here. So that means you really want to spend some time working on them. I have felt very shaky, low blood sugar. Well, what gland controls sugar metabolism? The adrenal glands, and she knows that. She's got this all marked out in adrenals and all that. Nice. Remember, if you don't use glandulars for adrenals, if you're in the 90s and 80s, you want to use licorice root. You want to bring those adrenal glands up and get them functioning. Thank you so much. Well, that was a lot. But a lot of them are older, and that's my concern. There's only one of me. And so, again, there's been a lot of individuals that have been hooked to the YouTube for a lot of years that are working with others and helping others. And if you want to share in letting them help answer some of these questions, get back to Chris on that. But until then, I'm working it. I love you guys. Hang in there. You're doing so well. And I love the need to learn and grow. And like I said, I'm just one guy in the woods. You will learn so much more. And by working with others, you'll see and learn. There's nothing like helping others get well, because there's so much information to learn how you work this. And I've had almost 45 years of working with people all around the world, and it's just been a lot of fun. But it's also been a lot of stress, because there is so many problems out there. And it's just after a while, it gets heavy. So don't let it, don't get too involved in people's problems. Step back, because now you're a way shower. And for some of you, put out that hand. Work with the humilities. There's no need to feel in any way that you're better than something else or someone else. When that begins to happen, you lose your way. And then karma starts creating, your return visits. So, free yourself. It's fun. Well, I love you guys. Until the next video, I'll try to come back this afternoon and do another one, but we'll see how the day progresses. Thanks, Drew. Thank you. May the blessings be.